We are here at Atlantic City, New Jersey for the Atlantic City Speedrome here for the second race of the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series. The first news and notes that we have to report is that Chadler Blake wins the Densville 250 after dominating that event. He led a race-high 54 of 100 laps en route to his Densville 250 victory. Mike Hogan in car number 17 has been fined $400,000 for illegal parts that they were discovered during the Thunder Shootout. Hogan was forced to pit to remove the parts and kept on going before being involved in a wreck. Kano Suzuki is out for the 2015 season due to a head injury. Nick Dunnigan, who used to run for the team and run for Chin Racing in that number 20 car, takes over for Suzuki for the entire season. Dunnigan did start pretty well in this race. Has started pretty well. He starts, I believe, 14th in this event. And this race will also debut a new qualifying format that was introduced towards the latter portion of the season, although it was not actually used that season. First of which is that the groups are split into 37 cars. That means no cars are locked in for the race because of the owner's points being dropped in favor of new team points. It will be the top 20 cars in each group are the fastest to get in, and the 21st spot that is by each group is used by provisionals on the drivers who are the highest up in the points. However, they can only be used once, and for this week they were used by Chadler Blake and Jason Kylan, so the first and second place drivers in the points. And the times from these sessions also counts towards the Aflac Polo Award time trials. So if you're the fastest one of the overall both groups, you end up winning the Aflac Polo Award. And here is our track info and race notes. It is a 1.2 mile speedway. We're racing 160 laps for 200 miles. Last year's race saw Shane Harden hold off a charge from Brian Wilson, Brandon Green, and Jamie Scuddy to take the victory, and its first race was during the 2010 season. And now your starting grid here for the Target 200. Ryan Pearson wins the Aflac Polo Award with James Wilson Jr. starting second. Mike Hogan starts third, so making Wilson and Hogan starting in the top five for the second straight week. Notable starters, there you see Ethan Littinger in car number 51 makes his first start of the season. Jason Duke was the fastest car in the first group, as pretty much everybody in the second group was faster than everybody in the first group. And there you see Jason Kylasso is ahead of Chadler Blake due to Kylasso getting the faster times, as both of them have provisionals. So there you see Ryan Pearson, car number 2 on the inside of James Wilson Jr. Green flag's out, and Pearson gets a really good start. I don't think the 11 actually got a good start at all. Mike Hogan is already under the inside of the 11, as I believe that outside line did not go, as Jonathan Winslow's already gone by, and I believe Jared Lansell on the 13 was already going to try to make a move under that 11. So it looks like the first 3 cars on the inside are easily able to get away. There you see Mike Hogan, car number 17. Hogan gets a really good run. It's going to pass the number 2 car for the race lead. Jonathan Winslow is now going under the 2 of Ryan Pearson, and Winslow in the 00 is looking for second, and looks like Winslow does get second, but now he's going to challenge for the lead under that 17 of Mike Hogan, as they're going to head down the back straightaway. We would have our first incident of the event. There you see in the back, that's Sean McDowell, car number 10. He gets hooked by favorite Alan Kimmel in the 88. Kimmel, who was very fast in practice, started towards the middle of the field because of those time trials. The 10 of McDowell will keep it on going. And luckily for McDowell, we would have first caution lap number 3. Jason Kylasso, your second place finisher at Densville, gets up into Chris Clark and Mac Hamlin. All 3 of them slide up down the track and only sustain very minimum of damage. There you see the 10 of Sean McDowell driving by. We would take the restart lap number 8 with Jonathan Winslow leading the way, with Tyler Houston in second, Corey Von Duggan, car number 23, and third, Mike Hogan in the 4th spot. There you see, looks like Corey Von Duggan on the 23 did not get a good restart at all, while the 57 and 00 were able to just pull away easily, as looks like they're mostly single file, but once we get into turn number 3, we'll see some passing results. And there we go, we have 1 for the lead, and I believe Mike Hogan just went under the 23 of Corey Von Duggan. We'll see how that looks like. Hogan's still trying to get that 23 cleared, as Kyrie Houston, the 57, is still trying to get to the bottom. The 57 will clear the 00. We will have our next caution as Stephen Volk and Ethan Littinger spin down the track, as Volk in the 29 spins it backwards, nobody else hits him. Ethan Littinger was making his first start of the season, turns it back around, first time start as a full-time competitor for Ethan Littinger. Both cars would keep on going. We would have some pit stops, and it would all cycle in. Corey Von Duggan, car number 23, would be the race leader. Jonathan Winslow second, Walter Youth in the 8th, third, and Scott Johnson, car number 58, runs in 4th. Mike Hogan in the 17 was the first car to pit. He restarts the race in 5th. As there you see Scott Harper in car number 6 is, I believe, 2 laps down. There you see a couple cars. They're trying to, I think it was either a strategy calls, the 17, 66, and I believe Brian Dawson also as well. They all try to pit under the green so they can actually try to extend their fuel mileage as some of them have actually, I think, probably either that or probably there have been some score loop errors, I think, throughout, I think, its track history. There you see Jonathan Winslow and Corey Von Dug, and there you see, I think, Kyrie Houston almost loses it a little bit as they exit off of turn number 3, but no harm would be found there. Here is that 71 car of Nick Dunnigan, who I believe qualified 14th. He was actually running up the front for most of the event, and there you see some other cars around him, as Dunnigan is making his first start since, I believe, the 2013 season when he was driving that 73 car. As some cars you see around that didn't appear in Dentsville, the 20 Mark Gillo, as you see, gets in the wall. That will bring out a third caution on lap number 30. Scott Johnson and Stephen Volk get together, as Max Rapon does a really good job, but he gets run into by Brian Dawson, his own teammate, which I don't know why Dawson did not slow down, hence the reason that you saw smoke. Hensler did not appear to slow down until he actually saw his teammate, but it was too late. He ended up smashing into the back of it. As you are aware, if you see smoke, you're supposed to slow down. On the restart, Shane Harden in car number 59 led on the restart with Thomas Lawrence in second, Kyrie Houston in the 57 third, and Ike J. Jr. in fourth. Harden in the 59 was actually, I believe, swept up in a late race wreck at Dentsville, and was actually, I believe, still in contention even with that, but was never really a factor after that wreck. There you see Walter Youth in the 8th fell a couple laps down. As you see, pretty much everybody, pretty much all the lap cars were actually able to easily get by the 59. There you see Youth and Duke, and I believe Hogan and Harper. Walter Green in the 39 is already about to make a move under the 59, so Harden's being pushed off on the outside. Meanwhile, all the lap cars are just driving right by the 59 of Harden. And the car in second is actually the 10 of Sean McDowell, as he's trying to battle with Ike J. Jr., Thomas Lures, and Ethan Littinger. Littinger, who's clawed his way up back into the front despite having issues. And here comes McDowell in the 10. McDowell tried to get a run, but Harden appears to get a better run, and now is free of the lap traffic, although he still has the 6 and the 66 there, as looks like Harden in the 59 is now starting to pull away from the 10. And there you see Walter Youth in the 8 almost gets turned around. We would have a third caution lap 41. Thomas Lures gets into Luke Warren in the 14. Warren would get that 14 turned backwards. Warren almost hit the wall, but he would save it there, as Luke Warren, who I believe failed to qualify for Dentsville, doesn't really get a good start there. Eddie Johnson, number 55. It would get into the lead of the race. Todd Piper second, TJ Gordon in third, Casey Lester in the 12, who also failed to qualify for Dentsville, restarting in the 4th spot. There you see Carson Brooks in car number 75, already trying to go to the bottom there. As there we see, we have an interesting battle for second. TJ Gordon's going to get in the back of Piper. Piper's going to get into the 26, the 6 of Harper, and Harper's going to spin in front of the field. As he spins across the there, Ethan Linger, Matt Kimlin, and I believe Jason Kylasso also had nowhere to go. Here's what happened from Ethan Linger's perspective. Tries to go low, has nowhere to go on the outside, just trapped on the inside line, and he would have tried to go to the bottom. Scott Johnson's also in there. Jake Kierland, I believe, or that was Max Rapon was also collected. We would have our incident coming back to the caution. Eddie Johnson turns Walter Green. Walter Houston was also collected, as Green's able to keep it going, but there's the pack coming in. Corey Von Duggan was the first car to hit. McDowell, Lancel all crash. Chadler Blake, the points leader going into this weekend's in there. Mark Mongillo, Shane Truex, and I believe Chris Clark was also collected. And here's another angle. The 39 gets into the 55, gets into the 39, that gets into the 8. 39 is able to keep it going. The 8 tries to turn it back around, but he gets hit first by Corey Von Duggan. Your favorite going into the weekend, Alan Kimmel's collected. Cody White's also in there. Nick Dunnigan's also in there. And yes, that was Chris Clark. But then we would have another wreck towards the back of this pack, as they got in all this gag because of that crash in the front straightaway. Harden is the first one turned around. Jake Kierland, and that's what happened with the 10 and 30 and the 10 and the 13. That's what happened there. And one driver that made a really smart move was Casey Lister in the 12. As you're going to see the first wreck happening. You see Gordon just gets into the back of the 26 Todd Piper. Casey Lester would actually drive down pit road as you're going to see Lester's going to just drive into pit road, and it kind of seemed like a bad idea because the caution was already out, but you're going to see on the right of your screen as Lester just enters pit road, you see both of the wrecks unfolding, and it might have seemed like a dumb idea, but Casey Lester makes a really smart move entering the pit road, and as a result, Lester does not get any damage sustained from any of the catastrophes that happened on this front straightaway on lap 46. As a result, IJ Jr. car number 09 would lead on the restart. James Wilson Jr. car number 11 second, Kyrie Youth third, and Brandon Green car number 30 restarts this race in fourth. James Wilson Jr. in 11, who qualified up in the front row for the second time this season in just 2 races. Kyrie Youth in car number 57 already gets by the number 11, as we're going to see that 57 Youth is going to try to go high to get around the lap traffic. As there you see Brandon Green in car number 30 gets a good run. Jonathan Winslow in the double zero is also still up in the mix. With James Jr. car number 11 there. Nick Dunnigan, despite getting the damage, he's still also up in there. As there you see Brandon Green car number 30. The 30 of Brandon Green is going to re-inherit the race lead with lap traffic David Scott and Justin Clinkston still interfering in the way. Ike J. Jr. is going to try to get to the high side of Winslow, while as they nearly make contact there, as the double zero and the 09 are battling there. Looks like both Winslow and looks like the 11 and the 71 also catch up here. We would have lap traffic that Jason Duke would be way off the pace, and Shane Nargan, car number 32, both of them sustained damage in that crash. This would lead to them stacking up the field. Stephen Volk and Todd Piper almost get collected. Piper's gonna be a wise man, moves over. Nargan tries to block Ike J. Jr. Nargan, who's had lap traffic issues, especially at Edmonton last year, he's now having issues with that. And Ike J. Jr. turn around! Jace Jr. turned around in front of the lead. Brandon Green was also collected. Jonathan Winslow was also collected. The 09 is going to try to get back down to the track. He gets hit by Powell, and Shane Truex was also collected. And I believe Sean McDowell was also taken out in that scenario. So all four of those cars, I believe, can go out of the race. The 26, Todd Piper, who inherited the lead after that bizarre situation, is now the race leader. Stephen Volk in the 29 second, Kyrie Youth in third. Actually, and the 11, James Jr. is still running in the fourth spot, as I believe Horton is running a couple laps down, as Piper has already built up to a decent-sized gap over the field, as there you see that CJ Gordon is still trying to get around the 59 of Shane Harden, as here we go to, as Eddie Johnson, the 55, would get by the lap traffic, but here is our Stephen Volk in the 29. He would be involved in our last caution in the first half. Todd Piper in the 26 is collected, as the 29 of Stephen Volk and 13 Jared Lansell made contact on the front straightaway. All cars would continue on. Jonathan Winslow would lead on the restart, lap 84, with the 66 Jason Duke. Duke actually got a horrible start there, as he pretty much, I believe, everybody behind Duke just didn't really go on the restart. As there you see Horton, 59, is going to try to contest. Harden's, I believe, a couple laps down because of damage sustained in the lap 47 crash. Harden, who won this race last year, unless if some miracle can happen, I doubt he'll win it again today. But even with that, this team's won 4 of the last 5 races. Another car that would be, another Monster Energy racing car that would be starting to shine would be that 55 of Eddie Johns. Johns would actually restarted this race in 12th, and that was just like 3 laps ago. And now he's already going to try to take the lead away from Jonathan Winslow in car number 00. As Eddie Johns, car number 55, has not had a regular Speedway win since Denver of 2011. Which in that year, Johns was just flawed, although his antics ended up costing him the title that year. As we would have quite a long green flag run, Eddie Johns would enter the pit road on lap 132, as you see enter the pit road. And then Stephen Volk in the 29 would come out on the pits in lap 133, and that would be our next caution. Kyrie Youthen trying to enter the pits, while Stephen Volk trying to get out. They both touch, which not sure why Youthen could have just slowed down and let the 29 go by. But I think Youthen didn't really want time wasted. Eddie Johnson, car number 55, led on the restart lap 138 with the 57 of Kyrie Youthen in the second spot, the 48 of CJ Gordon in third, Mark McGill in car number 24, Nick Dunnigan, I believe, in fifth. As there you see Johnson struggling with lap traffic between the 11 of James Jr. and Jonathan Winslow in the 00. Kyrie Youthen is also there. Kyrie Youthen's going to try to go to the bottom of the 55 of Eddie Johns, as Youthen will then inherit the race lead, as Johns is trapped up on the high side between James Lizzie Jr., Stephen Volk, and Jonathan Winslow. CJ Gordon's now going to go by for second. Gordon's going to try the middle line, and it's actually going to use that line as Gordon's now going to try to go to the bottom. Youthen's going to dive down to pit road. That's going to bring CJ Gordon to the race lead, but then Eddie Johnson, car number 55, gets a good run towards the middle line, and now he's going to try to see about going to the bottom. He stays tucked behind that 48 car, and now Johnson's going to, while Gordon's going to go low, looks like Johnson's going to go high. That's going to cost him a little bit of time for the 55 of Eddie Johns, as you see the 48 Gordon eventually pulls away, as he's now dealing with Shane Harden. The 55 of Eddie Johns is dealing with James Wilson. Now he's going to deal with Shane Harden, and that's just basically going to be a breeze, as car number 55 Eddie Johns is about to contest for the lead. Johns would eventually get up there and contest for the lead, and will eventually get by that 55. The 55 Eddie Johns would eventually get by the 48. I believe there he goes right there, as Johns would be able to pull away, and he actually would have the very strong car up to this point, as there you see CJ Gordon in front of the 48. I think Johns is trying to get his first win since Denver on a speedway. Eddie Johnson tried to lap Casey Lester, but Todd Piper gets in the way, and CJ Gordon, the second place car, gets collected. So Casey Lester, who was trying to not trying to hold up Eddie Johns, ends up getting himself collected, and Shane Harden of the 59 gets himself collected. As car number 12, Casey Lester, and the 59 of Harden would drop out of the race. I believe Piper would keep on going, and Harden would just drive up the track. I'm not sure why he's doing that, but on the restart, it will be Eddie Johns, car number 55, and the 48 of CJ Gordon. Gordon's, I think, a little bit back, as Johns and Gordon were the only other two cars in the lead lap. The third place car is actually Nick Dunnigan at 71, who's the second car in line, as there you see that 71 Nick Dunnigan. Dunnigan would be able to maintain the pace with that 55, and Johns would actually be pulling away. The restart was with 10 to go. He was actually a full second faster than CJ Gordon at car number 48. Johns in the 55 is trying to look for Monster Racing's 5th win in the last 6 races, which that actually dates back to last season, which in last season they ended the season with 4 straight victories. Johns actually had one of those wins that came at Talladega, as Johnson at 55 has been basically the class of the field for pretty much the second half of this race. He's going to take the white flag this time by, has about a 12-second gap over the 48 of CJ Gordon, as there you see, unless if something catastrophic happens, Eddie Johns is going to appear to win at Atlantic City, his first Speedway win since Denver of 2011, and Monster Energy Racing is going to win its 5th race in the last 6 events. So coming out of turn number 4, Eddie Johns dominates here at Atlantic City, and he wins the Target 200 here at Atlantic City. So Eddie Johns cruises to the victory here at Atlantic City, his first win not on a super speedway since Denver of 2011. Led 82 laps of 167 to the victory. CJ Gordon in car number 48 was the only other car to finish on the lead lap. He finished second. Nick Dunnigan, in his return to the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series, finishes 3rd. Mark Mungillo in car number 20 finishes 4th. As there you see the little note on the side on the lap sled. Dunnigan, Mongillo, Wilson, and Houston, and Winslow all finished 1 lap down. Lawyers, Pearson, and Green finished 2 laps down. James Wilson Jr., car number 11, finishes in the 5th spot. He led 6 laps. Kyrie Houston, car number 57, very strong run for car number 57, finishing 6th. Jonathan Winslow had a good car, but wasn't really be able to contend in the latter stages. Thomas Lawyers, car number 16, finishes 8th. Ryan Pearson, car number 2, finishes 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Brandon Green in car number 30. And now we take a look at your top 10 in points. CJ Gordon already has a huge lead, and not literally, but huge for a second race of the season. He has a 22-point gap over Shane Harden in car number 59. CJ Gordon then has a 25-point gap over Ryan Pearson in car number 2. Ryan Pearson sits 3rd in the point standings. Ike J. Jr. car number 09 sits 4th in the point standings, 25 points back. Chadler Blake in car number 15, 28 points back. In 5th, he lost the lead due to that wreck that happened on 47. Eddie Johns with the win climbs up to 6th in the standings, 28 points back. James Wilson Jr., car number 11, climbs to 7th in points, 33 points back. Jason Calasso falls to 8th, 33 points back. Jason Duke in car number 66, 9th with 34 points back. And Cameron Brooks in car number 33 rounds out the top 10 in points. And now taking a look at 11 through 20 in points, Keith Hales 39 points back of the points lead. Shane Narvin, your defending champion, climbs his way up to 12th in points. Kyrie Houston in car number 7, 13th in points. Nick Dunnigan was their big winner, gaining 46 spots to 14th in points. Brian Kittleson in car number 53, 15th. 16th is Mark Mungillo in car number 20, 42 points back. Tony Wider in car number 35 is 42 points back as well. Shane Truex in car number 73 is 43 points back. Jonathan Winslow is 44 points back. And rounding out the top 20 is Scott Harper in car number 6. He is 44 points back. And now let's take a look at our race recap. We had 9 cautions for 46 laps. Our hard charger was your second place finisher, CJ Gordon, gained 27 spots. Lap leader Eddie Johns with 82 laps led. We had 15 leaders that the lead changed spot 28 times, and then Eddie Johns built up a 12-second gap to win the race. A 12.21 gap to be exact. So next week's events, we have 4 races running at Chicagoland, the other 2 at Loudon, the Verizon Cup Gatorade Trucks and Aero Series race at Chicagoland. For the Verizon Cup, it's the 3rd race of the season. The other 3, it's the 2nd race, the Kellogg's Northwest, and the All-American take on the Loudon Speedway. We'd like to congratulate Eddie Johns on winning here at Atlantic City. We will see you in Chicagoland.